Hello guys, welcome to another episode of the Sulia podcast. My name is Safo Kwame Oheneba, and on today's episode of the podcast, I'm going to review my team selection. As you can already see on your screens, FPL is back and it starts tomorrow. The deadline is for game week 1. It's tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. And I'm just literally going to justify why I had my team selection and maybe possible changes I would make. And so let's go through it. So this is my team review. Reasons for Pickford. I actually do not think I'm really firm on Pickford yet, because for game week 1 and against Leeds, I think Pickford might concede, and that's not going to give me the maximum point I want. So instead of Pickford, let us replace Pickford for Sells, because I think the reason I'm going with Sells, especially with game week 1, is when you consider Brentford. The Brentford attack is not as potent as it was last season, considering that Brentford is they sold in Buemo, and who they have right now, there's João Vista and Kevin Shad. It's not ticking. It's not looking like, and Norgard, one of their best players, left. So I don't think Brentford is going to pose any threat to Dubravka, because Dubravka is a very good goalkeeper, but has to play for Burnley. And I think Burnley has a good goalkeeper on their hand. And also, I mean, when you compare Dubravka's prices to almost other prices, that prices is better. But then people ask, why not Raya, Alisson Becker, Edison, Trafford, or any of these goalkeepers? I think when it comes to the goalkeepers, the point fives and the little details are very important. So if I'm not using a goalkeeper and I can get someone who I believe can keep clean sheet, and Sells was one of the better goalkeepers we had last season. He was joint best, and if you look at Sells' price compared to the rest, it makes Sells better, and then Dubravka also as a possible replacement. So for my back line, I have Van de Ven, I have Diouf, I have Ola Aina, I have Konsa, and I have Renildo. So prior to Renildo, I have De Krupa, but let me justify, because there are some least popular names in there, like Diouf. So Diouf, Alhaj Diouf, was purchased from, I think, Red Star Belgrade to Spurs, to West Ham. And if you watch West Ham during the summer preseason, he was one of the best. The guy has bullet crosses. His crosses are magnificent, and that's what convinced me on this guy. His crosses and assists were good. Also, Jared Bowen seems to have formed a partnership with Fulkrug, and Diouf or Wan-Bissaka are both potent. And I think Diouf is one of those people do not look at. I mean, the possible replacement I could have had for Diouf were Cucurella for me, but then I don't think Chelsea will not concede. Chelsea will concede. I could have also had Aid-Nouri. The reason why I'm also iffy about Aid-Nouri is we've seen how horrible he is defensively. So, and they are both expensive. So that's why I went for Diouf. Van de Ven, because again, if you watch the Super Cup, Van de Ven has an eye for goal and assists. Aina, because Nottingham Forest, in their past friendlies they have played, again, have had 5-0 and have kept clean sheets. And Aina was really helpful towards last season. And I think people are really not on that train anymore. And that's why I'm convinced Aina will be good. And his fixtures seem a little bit okay. I mean, he has Brentford, which I think will get you the maximum points for game week 1. Ezri Konsa, I mean, I think in their fixture against Newcastle, if you watch them during the preseason and the summer training, are not convincing. I think Villa are for Konsa is a cheap acquisition as well. Renildo, I feel like people are not paying attention to Renildo, because he was purchased by Sunderland from Atletico Madrid. The Mozambique international, Ghanaians will remember Renildo very much when it came to the AFCON. I think Renildo has the potential to he has an eye for goal and would be good for your bench. So, but then we let's give a couple of shout outs to some defenders like the Cooper. I'm also thinking about after some time I would go in for Munoz. I think Milenkovic is also a good acquisition. Pedro Porro is a good acquisition. The reason I stayed with this is because of how helpful they were for my budget. Now the midfielders, yes, I know I do not have like the average midfielder everyone would want to see or have because Salah is not controversial, Palmer is not controversial. Philemon in the Elman in DI. Why did I go for Elman in DI? First, I think the 3 fixtures are good for Everton. Makes sense why I had Pickford as my number 1 goalkeeper. In DI, if anybody watched Aston Villa, is like the taken heartbeat. Oh, sorry, if anybody watched Everton, it's like the taken heartbeat of Everton. His chance creation, his dribbles, his goal scoring, he's on set pieces, he's on penalty. I think he's owned by 13.1% of the game, so he cannot be like a wild card or an underdog player. People have seen him, and I think he is going to be very vital for Everton this season. Another player I have in there that will surprise people is, why do you have Pap Sarr? Yes, the reason I have Pap Sarr is the new rule created in FPL, which gives like points for interceptions, for clearance, and mostly just awards people for their defensive duties. So your Caicedo jobs, your even Bentancur jobs. But apart from that, I think Pap Sarr has an eye for goal. Even when he came to the preseason, and he's lowly owned. People do not own him. He's owned by 2.6% of the game. And that's why I think Pap Sarr would surprise people. I have this jigger because I needed to save up on money. That's the reason why I have Lewis Miley. But then I think I have too much money. I have a lot of money in my account to even go spend. Now, my 3 strikers. Jared Bowen. I feel like Jared Bowen is not getting the shout out for the strikers because there's focus on people. There are teams where people want to put in Haaland and Salah. I had Haaland and I sold Haaland because I felt like the price was too much and I could cut my losses and then get as many strikers as possible. That's why I sold Haaland. But Jared Bowen, if anybody followed the preseason tour, has been on form together with Nicholas Fulkrug. Most of West Ham's goals, and he does have a nick for goals, and that's why I have Jared Bowen. I mean, people would go Mateta. That is fine as well. Oli Watkins, because again, 24.4% selection. He has scored in most of Aston Villa's preseason. He's on good form coming into this, and that's why I have Oli Watkins. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And Joao Pedro. Do I need to talk about Joao Pedro? 55.5% selected. He has more selections than Mohamed Salah. That is how crazy everyone is on the Joao Pedro. And so if you don't have Joao Pedro, you risk like losing out if on a player everyone has selected. So that's why Joao Pedro is in there for me. If I would make changes because I have 3.0 million, if I wanted to say make a replacement when it came to the midfield, I have like 7.5 in the bank right now. Means I could I can get an Eze, I can get Gakpo, I can get Gibbs White. I don't know about Gordon. Rogers is very important, except I don't know about his injuries. Semenyo, I can get Neto, I can get Elanga. There's so many things I can get. So, so Pickford out for sales. For my game week 1, I would. This is my preference for game week 1. Again, Pap Sarr for my defensive point. Ndiaye because I think he's going to be a wild card. Palmer because he's cold. Mohamed Salah because you can't do without him in FPL. I mean, Jared Bowen, again, Watkins, Joao Pedro. So this is my team. It's not finalized. I can have like second thought on it. Let me know what you think, how you think I can make the team better. For my opponent who are in my invitational, so these are the invitational leagues I'm in. I'm on the FPL pod league. I think almost everyone is on this, or Sajefo FPL. But the one I created, which is my league, is it's called the Sulia Podcast, which is for this league. I'll put the code inside this video. Anybody who wants to join the Sulia Podcast League can join it. I'm on the City FM Fantasy League. I'm on something called the Shawarma Boys League, Sporty FM FPL, and I was on the West African Debaters FPL. I cannot find the code. When I find the code, I will join that as well. And I am not an expert or anything, so this is like just free tips. And because I'm in of my location right now in British Columbia of Canada, my deadline for this game is at 10:30. So guys, let me know your thoughts. And but then again, we could go through the fixture list as well, so that maybe through the fixture lists we can decide which players we think will perform. Because Liverpool, Bournemouth, I think Liverpool would perform. There's no way Salah does not get a goal in there. I expect Kerkers and I expect Frimpong and the Liverpool backline to keep a clean sheet, because Bournemouth again have literally made a wholesale transfer of most of their good players and defenders. Aston Villa, Newcastle. I think Newcastle are in too much turmoil to be a threat to Aston Villa. Brighton, Fulham. Now, Brighton, Fulham is a game I think people might actually get a lot of points from, especially coming from the Fulham side. It will be Raul could get you points. Sunderland, West Ham. I think Sunderland, West Ham will be a free scoring game. There's going to be a lot of goals. That's why I have Diouf and I have Bowen in there. And I can't have Ronaldo in there. I am fully aware Diouf might concede, but again, it's best to keep him. Spurs, Burnley. Again, lest I forget, the reason I do not have Kudus in my Spurs team is that if you watch the way Kudus is being deployed, he's an effective player for Spurs. But his output and in getting points, for him to be an FPL player, I don't think you get that out of Kudus. And that's why I didn't put Kudus in my... He was one of the first players in my FPL, but I took him out because I don't think Kudus is going to get you that many points. He's going to be very pivotal to Spurs, all right. But as to him getting points, I don't know. Wolves, Man City, a lot of goals are going to come in. Tijani Reinders is on everyone's radar because he's also free scoring. Haaland, as usual. 8 Nuria players you should look at. Forest, Brentford. I think Forest is going to do a good job on Brentford. Chelsea, Crystal Palace is very tricky. I don't see how Chelsea does not concede. Crystal Palace, again, if you watch the community show, shows that they're a free scoring team. Chelsea against AC Milan, there was no need for Chelsea to even concede a goal. But some way, somehow, the defense was shaky. Levi Cole, who is like a pillar in the defense, is no longer there. So even if I think Chelsea would win, but there's a high probability of them conceding. That's why I didn't buy Cucurella. I was thinking of getting James, but I didn't get James as well. I can use them for future games. United, Arsenal. This match is going to be like the most trickiest. I don't know what's going to happen. And by 8:30, guys, AM, that's the times I have to wake up to watch football in this part of the world. I don't know. It's just best for me to stay out of this game. It's just best for me to stay out of this United Arsenal. But then the funny thing about games like this is these are the games you can get the most points out of them as well, because you expect United to score, you expect Arsenal to be on the score sheet as well. Leeds, Everton. I think Everton, there's going to be a lot of goals because Leeds are a very open team. Leeds are very open. They play open football, and Everton are going to get their chances to score. That's why I have Ndiaye. So Beto is a good shout. If you get Beto for the match week 1, you should be sorted out. So this is my fantasy Premier League. This is my team review, and catch you on subsequent episode of the FPL. Like and subscribe to the Sulia podcast. Bye, guys.